Hello everyone. In this video, I want to talk about comparing against a partial year. Let us say that we have the data only till the month of May 2022. And when we are calculating the YOY change, we only want to compare against 2021, January to May. Now, calculating the YOY is not really difficult, but the problem is that it will compute the difference or the growth of Jan to May of 2022 versus Jan to December of 2021. Let us take a data set and see this in action. So I'm going to load a very simple Excel file, which only has two columns in it. So we go to Excel workbook, and then on my desktop, we have book one. And as you can see, the data set only has two columns in it. From the 1st of January 2018 all the way till the 1st of May 2022. Let us load it. The very first thing that we have to do, because we are doing a time intelligence calculation, is to create a date table. So we go to the data view, and I'll just hop over to the browser and go to sqlbi.com. And here we can search for a simple date table. We can copy this, come back to Power BI, go to new table, and simply paste it here. Now, in our sheet one, which I also want to rename to, let us say, fact underscore sales. We can see that there is a date column already available with us, but we would like to create a proper date table. So I'm going to call this fact sales date and put this in the maximum as well. And what we end up getting is a date table. For this particular illustration, we don't really need all the other things. So I'm going to remove these add columns part, since that is not required. And I would like to avoid any complication. So let us keep it simple. We just want to apply a filter. And what we end up getting is a date table from the 1st of January 2018, going up all the way till the 31st of December 2022. Now we go to relationship, and here we want to create a connection between the date table and the fact sales table, like this. Now, in our current data set, the fact sales only has one transaction per month. Hence, it is creating a one-to-one relationship. Let's go back to the report view. And before we talk about the partial year, let us first do the YOY and see why it would not work. So new measure. And the first measure that I want to create is my sum sales, which is nothing but the sum of my sales column. So we get this first measure with us. Let me now make a matrix. In the matrix, we will keep the date from the date table, the sum of sales, and let me also increase the size a little bit. Let's make this 20. That is better. And I also want to add a border and a shadow. Perfect. So we get the sales for the current period, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We don't really need the quarter right now, so I will remove the quarter and the day. We only want to look at the year and the month. As you can see, we only have data till the month of May 2022. Now we want to calculate the YOY change. For that, what we would like to do is to go to new measure one more time. And here we say that my YOY is equal to calculate the sum sales with a filter applied to it, which is date add. We will select the date column. After that, we do the number of intervals as -1, and then finally year. So what this does is that if we put this YOY value in the same matrix, we get this result. Now this makes sense, right? The 1739 from 2018 is coming in 2019. The 1776 from 2019 is coming in 2022. And the 1784 for the complete year 2021 from Jan to December is coming next to 2022. Now, even without having to divide one by the other, I'm sure all of you will agree with me that this doesn't make sense because I cannot find the growth or the degrowth from 21 to 22 if I'm comparing 5 months versus 12 months. As you can see here, for 2022, I only have the data for 5 months, and for 2021, we have the data for 12 months. So it would be unfair to find out the YOY change because the result would not be correct. Even so, I do want to write the calculation so that you can see what happens. So let's go to new measure, and I want to find my YOY change, and this is divide the sum of sales minus the YOY divided by the YOY. This has to be a percentage, and we will put this in the same table. And what we end up getting is -52. Now the calculation is doing its job. From 853, from 1784, I dropped to 853. Hence, there would be a degrowth, right, of -52. If I go down to the month level, this is okay. If I go month by month, it shows me 13, 65, -27, 36, and 11. That is correct. But then there is nothing to compare against for the month of June all the way till December. That is why you're getting a -100%. And of course, we would like to fix that. Okay, now let's see what we will do. Let me keep this on the side. So I go to new measure, and this time we want to calculate the YOY only for the partial year. So let me create my first variable, which is for my first date. Okay. And this would be the first date, which basically returns the first non-blank date. And for this, we are using date add. We are using our date column from the date table, and then -12 month. So before doing anything else, let us see the result and see what we get. So when I return the result as the first date, let me press enter. I also want to create a copy of my table. So let me create a copy here, and let's remove the sum sales YOY change and put the YOY partial year in this. As we would expect, it is showing us the first date of the previous year. So for 2019, I'm getting 1/1/2018. 2020, we are getting 1/1/2019, and so on and so forth. That makes sense. Now, continuing the same logic, I want to create another variable. This is for my last date. Now here, what we want to do is to find the last date. But think about it. If I choose my date from the date table and we do the same thing, minus 12 and month, think about what the result would be. Let me change it to the last date. Before I press enter, think what will be the result. In my date table, we have used calendar auto. That means I have all the months in 2022 from January till December. That means now you're going to get 31/12/2021, but that does not make sense. The reason is that we only want to go till May 2021 because we only have the data till May for 2022. So we don't want to compare Jan to May of 2022 versus Jan to December of 2022. Hence, what we will do here is that rather than selecting the date table date, I will choose the date that is coming from the sales table. Think about it. In the sales table, we do not have any date beyond May. Since the last transaction that we have is for May, hence now the result is going to be for 19/20/21, it goes to the previous year till the month of December. But for 2022, it only goes to the 1st of May 2021. Now, why is that happening? The reason is very simple. Because in our data, we do not have anything beyond May. That's the reason why it is only showing me till May. Make sense? Now we want to use these two things to get a result. So we will now simply say that we want to return. So if either of these are blank, that means that if either my first date or last date are blank, so we say if is blank my first date or is blank my last date, then I want my result to be a blank as well. Otherwise, we want to calculate. Let me just make sure that everything looks okay. That's better. Okay. Otherwise, we want to calculate the sum of sales between the two dates, between the first date and the last date. So between January 2022 and May 2022. So we will say dates between, and here we will select the date column from the date table. The start date is my first date and the end date is my last date. Okay, so even before I press enter, think about what is happening. For 2022, we only have data for 5 months. That means the first date is going to be 1st of Jan 2021 and the last date is going to be the 1st of May 2021. Hence, we are only going to get the result for January till May. So now when I press enter, look what happens. You will notice that if I keep the sales and the YY partial year, we are not getting 1784 here. In the previous case, we were getting 1784 next to 2022 because it was showing me the data for 12 months. Now it is only showing me the data for 5 months, and I can verify that. In 2021, you notice we have done 154, 100, 184, 134, 177, and the same 5 months are coming here as well. And that's exactly what we wanted, right? Because now if I divide 853 minus 749 divided by 749, we will get to know the YY change only for the 5 months, which we have done in the current year. So let's create another measure. We want to call this YY partial year change. And this is nothing but divide. And I would like to divide my sum of sales minus the YY partial year divided by the YY partial year. Let's change this into a percentage. Pull this into the same table. And there we go, everyone. We have the correct YY, which is from 749 in the previous year. We have jumped to 853 in the current year, only for the 5 months for which we have the data. And the change is 13.89%.